Do you need to take responsibility for your part in an abusive relationship? I think the answer is yes, but not in the way you might think. Thanks for joining me for another video. If you're new here, my name is Beanie and I'm a certified trauma-informed coach that specializes in domestic and narcissistic abuse. And if you're a subscriber, welcome back. This can be a bit of a touchy subject because when we talk about domestic and narcissistic abuse, oftentimes you hear a lot of the focus is being placed on the abuser and what their actions were, and rightfully so. I in no way want to diminish, downplay, or dismiss what you've been through and what's been done to you, because it was not deserved, it was completely unfair, and it was, quite honestly, evil. And having said that, there also comes a time in the healing process that we need to be sure that our mindset is not stuck in us being a victim, and that we begin switching that mindset to being a survivor who has a growth mindset. Now, a growth mindset is someone who can self-reflect, take criticism, begin to see things in a different way. Someone who is determined to pick up the pieces, do the work, and quite honestly, just move the fuck on. And in doing so, we have to ask ourselves some really tough questions. Questions like, what was it about me that attracted this evil? Why me? And not in a place of woe is me, but more of why did this predator, for lack of a better word, choose me? Questions like how and why were they able to manipulate, take advantage of, and take your confidence away? Or what do I need to heal within myself, both mentally and emotionally, to not only get past this, but to ensure that it never happens again? And so here are a few things that you can think about when taking responsibility. Number one, at some point, some red flags, and likely a lot of red flags, were ignored. I know that I can look back on the beginning weeks or even months and clearly see some major red flags in the relationship. And it's likely that there were a ton of them given to you, and possibly they were even handed to you on a silver platter. And yet, for a lot of reasons, we all chose to ignore them. The red flags were likely things like love bombing, all sorts of gifts, all sorts of time, vacation, words, touch. Then there's the expedited bond between each of you that happened way too soon, the too soon I love yous, the quickly moving in together. And then there was the constant attention that likely felt extremely flattering, but really it was just a way for them to manipulate and control. All of these things were ignored or swept under the rug. Then there's the isolation. Now, this also likely happened early on, isolating you from family, friends, or quite honestly, anyone who may have tried to open your eyes from an outside perspective. See, he was trying to build a cocoon around both of you, disguising it as maybe saying things like you and him against the world, or that nobody understands us, or we're just different, or how about this one? We don't need anyone. I heard them all, and I fell for them all. So the question now becomes, what in us would allow us to let someone who loved us to interfere with the other relationships in our lives where those people care about us as well? And then this is a big one, validation. It was likely that you were looking for external validation. You wanting and thinking that you needed to have someone else fulfill the things in your life that really we all need to be able to fulfill on our own. And to fill these potholes or feelings like, maybe you're not enough, or you're not worthy, or you're not deserving of having your own wants and needs and desires met. And so now that you've taken some responsibility for your part, how do you begin to move forward from that? So next is going to be a list of, 3 or 4 things that is going to help you to move forward. First of all, you have to have compassion for yourself, a quality that likely you already possess in abundance. In spades, you probably have compassion for others. But when it comes to being compassionate towards ourselves, we struggle. Having compassion for yourself goes a long way in being able to take responsibility. Number 2 is forgiveness, and not in the way that you may think. I believe that your forgiveness should be saved for yourself. I don't believe that your feelings of forgiveness need to go beyond that, any further than that, to be able to move on. If you want to forgive, great. If you don't, you can move on without that. Learning to forgive yourself for the actions, behaviors, thoughts, and words that you used when you were in survival mode. It's really common for abuse survivors to say they don't even recognize the woman that they have become. In my case, so much of who I became was very uncharacteristic of my true character. And so to that point, there may be many things that you did or said that you need to be able to just let go and forgive yourself for. Then there's grieving. You're going to have to give yourself time to grieve, and you're going to have to grieve the loss of so many different things. The false partnership you thought you had with this person, that's one. That includes grieving the loss of the person that literally never existed. You're going to need to grieve the loss of time, the loss of friendships, the loss of relationships with other people, family. Letting yourself go through all the stages of the grieving process is going to help you to take responsibility. And then finally, the last one is being willing and prepared to dismantle and rewire a belief system that was created under a lot of false pretenses. Lies, manipulation, deceit, all these things molded a version of you that you now need to dismantle and rebuild. You now get to rebuild with your voice, with your truth, and with your authenticity. So your focus is now on you. How are you going to better yourself? How are you going to ensure that this never happens again? And how are you going to reset your life, reset yourself, and then how are you going to be able to pay it forward? If you're feeling stuck, you have no idea where to start, and you're looking for some one-on-one help, you can reach out about my one-on-one coaching. Thanks so much for being here. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and alert buttons to support. And remember, I'm rooting for you.